Hi, I'm Laura Brandenburg with Bridging the Gap, and today I'm going to talk about what I like to call the chicken and egg problem in business analysis, which is almost all roles require a business analyst experience, but how do you get that experience if you aren't actually a business analyst? And it can feel like the chicken and the egg, right? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Who knows what comes first, the business analyst or the business analyst experience? It can be really frustrating for those of you who are looking to get started in the profession and just don't know how to break through that egg. So let's talk about it. So here's the thing is when you start to ask people in the profession how they got started into business analysis, a lot of times those who didn't go to school for business analysis, those who've been around for a while before we had like programs for business analysis that trained us how to do this, they will just tell you, well, I kind of just fell into the role. Like one day I was on a project and it was kind of cool and they needed a subject matter expert. And then I learned about this thing called requirements and I started doing more interviewing and elicitation and, I discovered business analysis and it's this like name for the career I've been doing all along. And that's my story too. So I was a QA engineer before I was a business analyst and, I got stopped in the hallway by a senior business analyst who said, "Hey, there's a new position opening on our team. Like, would you like to apply?" And for so long, I had internalized that in my head is like, how did I become a business analyst? I don't know. I was just walking around in the hallway, but then people, when I started Bridging the Gap 9 years ago, would start to email me and say, "Well, Laura, how do I get started?" And telling them to just like walk around and hope that somebody offered them a business analyst job wasn't a good answer. So I needed a new answer, and then I started doing the interviews, and I felt like a lot of people had the same answer I had. Like it just kind of happened, and so I knew that people who were trying to make this happen for themselves, like they needed a better answer. And the reality is that you can orchestrate your fall into business analysis. And you do it by essentially following the path that I took and following the path that, thousands of others have taken into business analysis by just starting to do the work, even if nobody's really asking you to do it, and one opportunity tends to lead to another. So I'm just going to look at my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. So yeah, you just start doing the work in your current role. Now, this is something we could talk about for hours. We have, hours and hours of training programs teaching new people how to do business analysis, or people who are either newly in a BA role or who are not even in the BA role yet, how to do business analysis. But I want to give you some quick tips in this video so that you have some takeaways and you can go try and experiment with this for yourself. So one obvious way to look at it is to look for business processes that you can analyze. So a business process is just a step-by-step set of activities that happens in a pretty consistent way, that you do work again and again in your business, like servicing a customer or setting up a new account, things that happen pretty similarly time to time. And analyzing that as a process and writing down what that process is. Very easy way to get started. Other ways are to look at the software that you use as a business user. So what are the requirements of that software? How does it work? Create a use case or a set of user stories describing the functionality of that software. Or if there's like a change that you want to that software, create a wireframe and annotate like, hey, I want this here instead of here. And this, or like maybe information's on two different screens and you want it together on one screen. Create a wireframe mock-up of what that would look like and share that with a developer and see if they can, maybe help you create that kind of screen or create that for you. Okay, so just simple ways to get started. Analyze the data. Data seems really kind of more technical, and it can be, but it could be as simple as creating a glossary or a high-level model describing the terminology in your organization so that when everybody says account or customer or order, those words tend to are deceptively simple in that everybody thinks that they're saying the same thing, but they're really saying something a little different. Can you be the person that creates the glossary or clarifies definitions when we're talking about those things in a meeting? Again, you're starting to do business analysis work. So business process, software requirements, we talked about use cases, wireframes, and data models. A third area to look at is communication, because being a business analyst, a huge part of that role is being a good communicator. So what you want to do, you can practice communication in any role. You could take notes in a meeting, so you're practicing hearing what people have to say. You can practice asking questions and getting feedback, like, hey, so what I'm hearing is this, did I get that right? Or instead of like spending a lot of time researching the answer, like go and ask somebody the answer. Or if you're on the technology side, go ask a business user for input. Present them with a wireframe and ask for their input and feedback before you actually build what you're building. You'll be doing a little bit of business analysis as you do that. So documentation reviews, which any kind of documentation, how could you review that documentation so it's more clear, more complete, more concise? Again, a large part of the business analysis effort is creating some sort of documentation that's really usable and clearly understood by the whole team. Those are just some quick ideas to get started. And what you'll find, the cool part of just like starting to do business analysis, is that your work, like especially if you've been kind of frustrated or bored or feeling like you're kind of at a dead end in your career, the work automatically starts to become more fulfilling. So yes, there's like salary and other benefits that come with being a formally sanctioned business analyst with the job title and with that level of responsibility assigned to you. But you can get some of the benefits just of having more challenging, fulfilling work, of making your organization better just by getting started applying those techniques in the role you're at today. And what we see, I call it the virtual cycle of business analysis, because you take just one of these steps and you take that step forward, and that opportunity leads to another opportunity, leads to another opportunity. The first couple of steps, like you're gonna have to do some of the heavy lifting and kind of make them happen and kind of put more effort in consistent driving forward to get it started. But what starts to happen when you do that is then opportunities start to come to you. So people see that you're contributing in meetings in new ways and asking the tough questions, or you're taking notes, and everybody needs somebody to take notes. So then maybe you get invited to more interesting meetings and problem solving discussions. And then in that meeting, you can volunteer to create a document or to do something extra that would help move that problem or that discussion forward. And so it's just like one thing leads to another, and all you have to do is take the first step. So that's my call to action to you. Leave a comment below with what step are you going to take? What one slice of business analysis will you use in your work this week? And how are you going to make that happen? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. If you're one of our veterans, we have lots of people with lots of experience that still listen into our videos. So go ahead and just let somebody know like something unusual that you did as a business analyst, or maybe the very first thing you did even before you were a business analyst, and share your story. It can inspire a lot of other people as well. So again, I'm Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap. We help professionals like you get started in business analyst careers, and really it's all about just taking that first step and letting the virtuous cycle start to create momentum for you in your career. And this is how you do it. This is how you get started as a business analyst with no experience, and you break the egg by creating the experience and creating the success for yourself. So again, Laura Brandenburg, thanks for watching. Talk soon, everyone.